6:30. And it's Zoom.
How would we get to it?
Molly Kate will be sending over me.
Just
And
admitted her, but I don't see her
the
here.
idea is that the committee that's looking at, we're looking at.
Oh, there she is.
Position to see if we need to.
Oh, she doesn't show on that
various
screen, but
things
she
like
shows on
around
mine.
And so forth.
Mhm.
And.
Ellen, can you hear us?
We thought.
Yes, I can hear you. Hi, Jim.
Hi.
Larger.
Okay, I'm never sure about the acoustics on these speakers, so you're at a distance, but we can hear you, so that's good.
I can hear you really well.
Okay, thanks. Where are you?
I am in Davis.
Okay, for a memorial service?
Yes.
Okay, well, I know I appreciate you taking some time out of your family affairs to be with us.
Of course. I miss being there in person.
Well, next month we'll be back.
Yes. Yes, we will.
Well, thanks.
Sorry, Rush. Ellen gonna be here?
That's her.
I'm here. Hi, Mary.
Hi.
Is our camera on?
Were you the one that got something like 9 messages from the same person?
No, that was me.
Ellen? Ellen?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't hear your question, Bird.
Were you the person that got something like 9 messages from the same person like a month or so ago on the message line?
Yes, I did receive a message from someone multiple times.
Was this someone who had been in LA and then moved up here and had all kinds of issues with medical and so forth?
It could have been. I'd have to look back to be sure that that's the case, but that sounds correct, but I'd have to look to be sure.
Okay, did you do anything with her?
I think I'm gonna have to look back, but I think I tried to get a hold of the person, but was unable to. But I thought it was a male person. But so maybe it was a different person.
That you had?
I think you're thinking of the one that I had that called like 18 times or something right before.
Okay, well, that's it. Were you able to get in touch with her? I got 5 messages from her today.
I didn't actually try to call her because there was nothing we could do, but I did do an APS report just for a wellness check. And I don't know what came out of that.
Oh, well, I tried to call her back to see what she wanted us to do.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything.
And to see what to do. So, maybe afterwards we can talk. I'm sure it is the same person. And if you've already asked for a wellness check. Okay.
I mean, that was a month ago though.
Well, it was today, 5 messages today.
Yeah.
And at least 4 minutes each one. I didn't even listen to the last 3. The first 2 were over 4 minutes each. So
It is 5:32. Call the meeting of the Humboldt County Human Rights Commission to order. Ellen, if you can take attendance from where you are, appreciate it.
Sure. Carol.
She is excused.
Excused. Okay, thank you. Bird.
here,
Present. Jim.
Here.
Present. Larry.
Here.
Okay. Jamie.
Here.
Thank you. Guy.
He might be here later, but he's not here right now.
Okay.
It's excused if he isn't.
Okay. Richard.
I'm here.
Lisa.
She is not here tonight.
Okay. And then Peter. Peter.
Oh, that's right. They weren't.
What's that?
You were sick.
Was that present?
Okay.
Sorry, the camera doesn't show me everything, so it's hard to tell. Was that present?
Yes, it was.
Okay,
Yeah.
great, thank you. And then I'm present. So we have a quorum.
Okay, and while we're on that subject, I have a reminder that I want to I didn't know how many people would be attending long distance by Zoom. So I wasn't sure whether we would have a quorum. We do have a quorum. However, it's a reminder that commissioners on Zoom may participate in discussions, but do not count in voting or as part of a qualifying quorum.
Yeah.
So we'll have to remember that going forward. Ellen, if you wish to participate, I more than welcome you to. But
Okay.
if we have to take a vote on something, I will have to consider you not part of the group.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And just part of that reminder that according to the Brown Act, a commissioner can only have 2 of those during a year.
Yes, and that is something we're going to have to enforce considerably better going forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
Okay, the land acknowledgement. As we gather today, we acknowledge that Eureka, California is an ancestral territory of the Wiyot people. We honor all indigenous people, territories, and sovereign governments that share governance within Humboldt County, California. We gather with respect and gratitude to these indigenous people. We thank and honor the indigenous caretakers of this land who continue to cherish and protect it. Their elders have instructed the young to consider the 7 generations ahead as they continue to protect the rights of the land and all people who live on it. We encourage all to align with and follow the lead of local indigenous communities as they steward the land and protect all of its natural resources. We'll have a moment of silence. Okay, at this point, are there any agenda adjustments requested by anybody? Seeing none, we'll move on to the treasurer's report. I'll be giving the treasurer's report this evening due to the absence of our treasurer.
The approval of the minutes.
Excuse me. That's gotta have you around. I'm sorry, the approval of the previous month's minutes are in order. Ellen, did you receive any communications?
Yes, I had some from Bird. There are a couple of corrections that I received today. Haven't made them, but I will. As soon as I do, I will send them your way.
Okay,
It was just a spelling and a little addition.
okay.
I was rather proud of myself, by the way, Bird, so thank you. Usually there's a few, but there's only 2 this time, so yay.
So I'll move that the minutes be approved as amended.
Okay, is there a second? Larry? Okay. It's been moved and seconded that the minutes of the previous meeting be approved as amended.
Sorry, that's was for the month before, because I didn't do it was Guy who did them for the last meeting. Does that matter
Right.
or?
It does, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, the minutes that which ones are you asking us to approve?
Mine were August and then no, September and then
No,
Guy did October.
Okay, the minutes that we should be considering are the September minutes first, and then we'll discuss the October minutes, which were taken by Guy. So
Okay, so move
moved.
for September.
For September, okay.
Okay.
Is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving the September minutes as presented, as amended, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, they are approved. The minutes of the October meeting did you receive any notes on those, Ellen?
No, I didn't, but maybe someone had perhaps emailed Guy instead of me.
Okay, well, because he is not here this evening, we will not be able to consider those minutes for approval, but we'll catch that at the next meeting. Okay, thank you.
Is there anything before September to approve, or is it?
No, we're caught up.
Okay. Good.
Okay, now we'll try the treasurer's report. The balance at our bank is $614.92. The balance in the county budget account is $3,219.64. Any questions or comment? No. Okay. We do not have any guest speaker this evening. I've rearranged the agenda slightly, so I hope it works well. Under Commission Communications, first item is share notes, and I do have a brief statement. These are times that will test all of us. Recently, 2 commissioners resigned and attributed at least some of their reasoning for the failing of the commission and myself to represent and protect them properly. Also, very recently, we had an election that may have changed the direction of our country for decades to come. These are challenges ahead of us, and these are challenges we will meet head on. It is my pledge to guide this commission by being better than the challenges, smarter than the haters, and being better in tune, even with those people who we consider allies. Our commission must step up and demand the same of ourselves that we would demand of others. I believe we are up to the challenge.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Sure. The next 2 items are email and regular mail, and there is nothing to report there. I will ask if there are any other commissioner announcements or comments.
Comment. There were, there was the 2 commissioners that resigned. I thought we were really something open, and I mean, if there was something that we said, or the kid, or I think we need to be aware of that.
And I think we should have that discussion. It'll come a little later in the.
Oh, that's right. Sure.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely right. Standing committee reports. The first one would be correctional facilities liaison.
We had, it was quite month, we had 3, calls, like actually they all came in, during October, but I think Bird was the one that actually finally fielded them. I referred one to Ellen. I don't know if she was able to, get. Ellen, did you get a hold of that lady from the jail?
I've been going back and forth a little bit with Bryce. There's been a little bit of delay on her end because of her assisting inmates with voting. And so I have a call scheduled for tomorrow evening with the inmate.
Thank you. The other 2 were gentlemen, one was released and the other decided that he didn't want to speak with us. So there was, that's essentially it. Okay.
Can I
Sure.
delete those now?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
Thank you.
Okay, I did skip public comment. I'm not using my own new format. So
We don't have somebody in the waiting room?
no, we don't.
Okay.
No.
Good, thank you. I guess she's not going to make it tonight.
Excuse me. Oh, I'm trying to figure out. Carol. Oh, Carol is here. Carol has joined us. Sorry if we kept you waiting, Carol. It's sometimes hard to pay attention to the waiting room. And Lachlan is here.
Yes.
Good. Thank you for waiting. I'm sorry if we kept you waiting too long. I'm not not missing anybody else. Okay,
Not showing up.
they don't show up on that screen, although they. Well, Lachlan is joining. He's in the process of joining. Pardon us while we make an adjustment.
Jim, can you see my?
Yes, we just started seeing yours.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry for the delay. And Lachlan, I know you're trying to get on. Unless he gave up.
Yeah, maybe give up. That's him.
Okay.
Who is Lachlan?
He's with the Youth Human Rights Commission.
Oh, okay. Oh, it would be nice to have.
Okay, sorry for the detour around. Sorry, generated that. Okay. Now, reports from the message line from October 1st through the 15th. Jim?
I had 3 people. One of them was the one Bird was asking me about, left 19 messages. Very lengthy, and I think I kind of discussed her last time because it was the day of our meeting and we decided that we could do an APS report. So I did refer to APS for a welfare check because I was very concerned about their just mental health and status, but I did not hear back on that, which I think is okay. I mean, it was referred and they followed up. I had another one that left, had ideas about homeless shelter, but doesn't have a number to give us, so she's gonna keep trying to reach us, which unfortunately we're never gonna get because we don't answer, so I don't know about that one. And then the third one was in the jail, I referred to Larry, and Larry followed up and was the one that decided not to talk to us.
Okay, thank you. Carol, October 16th through the 31st?
There were 3 calls and each one of them was from the jail.
Have those been referred to Larry?
Larry? No, they're saved. Sorry, Larry.
Well,
they're
they were called new messages when I started on the 1st. So I referred them to Larry and Ellen because they were all from the jail.
So if those are still saved, they can be deleted.
Yeah, that's what Larry just said. I will delete them next time I call.
All right. And do you have anything to report as of?
Just the 5 messages that I got today. I did try to call and just left a message to call back, and said, what is it that we can do for, what do you think we can do for you? And I will talk with her if I can get her, but I haven't had any luck. So maybe if I don't, I will refer her again, as you did, to it's to the adult
Protective Services.
Yeah. Okay,
I just gave them her name and number.
I'll take care of that then.
It does occur to me that maybe we could fix some of the problem by revising our voicemail message to say we cannot respond to you if you don't leave us with a phone number.
I mean, I think it says that we don't answer the phone.
No, there's a phone number. She just doesn't answer.
Oh, yeah.
The
Yeah,
message
this person left a
She
phone.
doesn't answer.
Yeah.
doesn't answer me when I call
Well,
her.
Yeah,
we can't do anything
that
about
person
that.
left a phone number because I gave their phone number to APS.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Okay, future message line assignments. I'm volunteering for November 16th through the 30th.
Jim, I'll take the last 2 weeks in December, right?
Both of them?
The last 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Starting on the 15th.
Okay, anybody volunteering for?
You know what? I should put my name in here, so I'll do that for December 1st through 15th.
Okay. Okay. The next report would be from Cultural Awareness Indigenous People. Carol, is there anything to report there?
No, I'm sorry. I have so much
Okay.
going on. completely forget.
Okay, well, that could happen. Hang on just one moment. Yes.
I would like to add, there was a very good article in the North Coast Journal about what Eureka City schools are doing with students and indigenous items and so forth. And I thought that might be something that the committee should look at and see if we might even want to congratulate them for what they're doing. Or, I mean, sometimes it's really good to tell people when they're doing something good instead of always complaining. So, I don't know whether you have a copy of it. I do have a copy, Carol. I don't know whether you can get a copy or not. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Also, on a
Are you-
national level, President Biden went to a tribe that's between California and Arizona and apologized for the treatment of Indians throughout the nation. And when they settlers first came over.
Okay. We're going to do this as we go through these ad hoc committees, but that committee is due to expire 12/31/24. I'm assuming we should extend that for a year. Is there any objection to that?
None.
No,
Okay. Okay. There is no technology report at this point. Collapse of the committee. We do have a report from the Free Speech versus Hate Crimes Committee from Rick.
okay, we met yesterday. In fact, 4 of the commission members on that committee who attended are here, so I know I will get a good check in terms of what my report is. Very briefly, there are 9 of us on the committee, and we are looking to develop a forum, a public forum that would be targeted to about 40 people or so, presented perhaps sometime in the beginning of February. And I can get some feedback here, but essentially we're looking to an audience that is comprising people who really want to be able to have good communications on sometimes difficult topics, and helping to give them some of the tools that will allow them to speak effectively, to both listen well to other ideas, and also to speak respectfully on those, but to maintain good communication rather than a break in communication on difficult topics. And we have right now Mary Galinas, who has proposed a basic outline for a forum, and she will be presenting more complete ideas at our next meeting in early December. We're looking to have, say, small, possibly some general presentations, then some small group breakouts with facilitators. We're looking to get good quality facilitators and people who we hope can really represent a wide variety of the community. So at this time, we are also developing a budget for that. And I thought that I would connect with Peter and to get referred maybe to a good person to help identify what kind of funding sources might be most appropriate for the sort of work that we're doing.
I have one question actually that I probably should have asked at the meeting last night.
Well, it's too late, Jim. The meeting, we're done.
It had to do with the makeup of the tables that we were talking about, and an ultimate group of 40 people. I wondered later whether or not that really is going to give us a broad enough cross-section of the community to have the effect we want it to have.
Depends on who. registers or says they're interested.
Yeah, and this may be ongoing, you know, we may just be really getting experience and more experience and more experience. And, you know, and from this initial group, maybe make some adjustments as to how we might want to do. But I think that we have thought of this as a more ongoing program in the community that we'd like to continue rather than kind of a one-shot deal. And I'm hoping it outlives me.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to bring up that question.
Yeah, I mean, if that's a good point.
I also, for Carol's benefit, the next meeting of that committee is December
December 4th.
4th at 4:30 PM on Zoom if you are going to be available for that.
And also that committee needs to be extended at least till June of 25.
Yeah,
That would have been my next question. Let's go 6:30, 2025. Okay, any questions or comments on that?
You have any additional?
No, you did a good job.
We don't.
The next committee report would be homelessness and behavioral health. Normally, a guy would give that report and he is unavailable this evening, so we'll skip over that one. Which takes us to the Youth Human Rights Commission. And I'm really sorry that we lost Lachlan, but we did.
Yeah,
That was part of our success story, I thought.
that's okay. We're working on it. And maybe I'll kind of tag them next time to like, what do you do when you can't get in? So Youth Human Rights Commission's going well. We're very excited. We've been meeting twice a month, the second and fourth Tuesday or Thursday from 4:30 to 5:30. There are 5 members, 3 of them very, very active. The other 2 kind of rotate in and out, depending, one of them works and one lives in Southern Humboldt. So, kind of depending on availability, but the 3 that come are like amazing human beings who are super brilliant. So we've been working on drafting. We have a timeline now, which we'll share with you. Probably the next meeting we'll have some more information to like share or email out before. They're working on solidifying a mission statement and some action statements and what that looks like. And then this next meeting, which is on the 14th, will be starting to draft our bylaws. The goal is for in January, they've kind of decided as a group, they were trying to like get more people, but they're doing such great work. And part of the timeline that we created is kind of like, it's an iterative process. So every year they're going to like review the bylaws and review the mission and the action statements and recommit. And so that new students who come on will be able to, be oriented in that process. So we kind of decided instead of trying to like build it up more right now and then like kind of keep going backwards and bringing people up, we're going to wait until January when they're going to do a launch event, maybe February, but likely late January, do some sort of launch event where they're going to do listening sessions with youth. So bring them together, identify issues that are important to youth in the community, and then they'll take those and make prioritizations and come up with some action plans related to those and reach out, talk to local legislators and report to us. And part of that process is starting to get them in the loop of coming here. So they're actually going to start giving this report. Lachlan was coming tonight to observe. They all want to observe once before they do it. So I told them that's fine. And then they'll start joining and they'll rotate through who comes. So we'll talk to them about if there's a little delay, I'll have them message me so that we're aware. But other than that, it's going great. At the launch, they're planning to do kind of a big targeted recruitment for next year. So while people are listening, if you want to be part of us, this is how you apply. So we're super excited about it.
Bird first and then Larry.
Well, on the purpose, it says established high school level participation. Shouldn't that be high school and college level? Because I mean, that's where they are.
It could be, yeah.
I think we need to add that,
high school and
and college level participation.
Okay, just one thought on that is that, and what I wouldn't want is the high school enthusiasm to get kind of overwhelmed by older, more mature students. That there would be. I like the idea of the high school students being fully engaged and active. And maybe that's not an issue, but that comes to mind when I'm thinking of
These
the
are,
older.
these are CR students, right?
No, these are Academy of the Redwoods,
They
they're
are,
high school.
they're all seniors.
They're all seniors
They're all
though,
seniors
so
in high
Yeah,
school.
so
they're very aware that they're seniors and they're all gonna be going away to college. And so they're looking at how do they bring in some younger students to.
There's a
build in
nice
some
idea also of continuity. I mean, if people who have been engaged and who are, successful, being able to continue on. So I mean, it's kind of a mixed thing about this college.
yeah, I understand your concern. Yeah.
And when some of those folks forum,
Oh, nice.
they would be excellent. Forum tonight. I was thinking about actually Boys and Girls Club folks as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Talk about
These three students are rock stars. They
yeah,
are
that's what I mean. It's like,
well
it
spoken.
would be excellent additions to
Yeah. I mean, all of them are great, but these three have carried a lot of the weight. Yeah. So we're very excited. We're making progress. We're on track. And hopefully we'll start the cycle this year.
Would we like to adjust the end date for this committee?
I mean, I think we adjusted it last time to July.
Next week, okay. Any other questions for Jamie?
No, just thank you for your hard work.
Yeah, thanks. It's been
It's
super.
nice to be able to see you now.
I know. I'm at a hotel and they have good Wi-Fi.
Oh, that's good. That's good. All right. Next committee report would be neutral observers. That's Larry, I think the only thing we agreed upon at the last meeting was to communicate with Tony.
Yeah, and so he did get back to us, and tonight is as Guy had mentioned, a conflict with the union. The CFA meets 5 to 7 on the same night we meet. So he cannot come to this meeting to
You
talk.
think you would be able to meet with the committee?
He said he'd be willing to meet with us if we gave him some time. So,
This is a fellow that represents the legal observer.
yeah, I will say, as I reviewed his email, I should have written it down though. We had kind of been talking about neutral observers, and he's actually interested not in neutral observers, but do you remember what it was called? Either of you?
Legal?
I don't think it was observers. I think it was. Let's see, nonviolent. Oh, he's interested in, he says what we need in our community is a nonviolent civil disobedience training. That's what he wants us to do.
I did not go with.
That's a different.
That's a different
It's
issue.
a different thing. So I think that he's not supporting neutral observers, which is some of the kind of feedback I think we've gotten from other people, that neutral observers have often been used to like silence or work on the behalf of the police force or whatever. So I think that's the question.
Sure.
Rick, you had a question?
No, I don't, but just as thinking of this, I mean, possibly the term neutral observer raises some red flags, but I like the idea of people who are there, who are not on one side or the other, but who are observing.
We morphed from the neutral observers into the independent observers. Was the IOP was when it moved out of the Human Rights Commission into the general population, that changed the name to independent observers.
Came of that?
It was real powerful when during, the early, during the timber wars and there was in the early 2000, there was some really horrendous law enforcement shootings and there was actually an organization called Cop Watch that was formed and there was a lot, it was a different time and with being like a program like that, if it's not active in doing something, the energy just tends to dissipate, and that's what happened with it. Over by 2004 or 5, and things had quieted down a lot, and people just kind of moved away from it, from doing it.
Well, I've been open to direction here. Are we trying too hard to create something nobody wants?
I kind of feel that way.
Or should we keep moving with this?
I think what Larry is saying is that the need for it arises when something is happening, like what happened at Cal Poly. And it's hard to have it in place for 3 years if nothing happens, but if you don't have it in place, you don't have it when you need it. So I don't know how we get around that, but that's basically what it is.
I agree, and I mean, I myself am I am supportive of having something in place. Even if it is for 3 years or hopefully for 20 years without being needed.
I guess I'm not clear on the legal observers will actually, they are actually meeting and engaged, and they will show up if something happens in the community. I guess it kind of made me think about what you mentioned, Cop Watch, which I'm not familiar with. I learned so much from you with your share. So thank you. Because this is totally new to me. But they're there to make sure that the cops are not infringing on anyone's human rights. So the legal observers are. So for me, like that's what I think we were kind of talking about doing, unless the neutral observers are something different than that. Then I think it's maybe like just the language maybe has changed and shifted, and now what used to be called neutral observers and then we're independent observers have maybe shifted to legal observers, and that's what they're doing because they're showing up. They have a call list, they have a phone tree, and they show up and observe to make sure that the police are not infringing on rights and people have the right to like protest. And
do they have regular scheduled meetings?
Yeah, quarterly, I think. Yeah.
Seems like it'd be wise for us to see if we could invite ourselves or.
Well, I think we probably have to go through the training if we want to. They went through a full training with the lawyer.
In order to be.
Yeah.
My understanding of sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, actually, it was Carol I noticed had her hand up.
Okay,
Go ahead.
thank you. I'll take my hand down after my comments are made. I'm wondering if we, because of the need isn't readily available or isn't happening, that maybe we could develop protocols and have them in place. So in case an occurrence does happen and we need, I guess, is it the word legal now? Legal observers? That we have, I don't want to say a brochure, but something like that, a pamphlet or written down protocols for us in case we need to instigate a rapid response. It's just an idea.
All right, thank you.
Peter.
Okay, Peter?
No, I don't. Just having listened to it for 2 meetings, it's not being obvious to me that it's filling a need that isn't already being filled.
Mhm.
The other group is meeting regularly. They've got training coming down from Eugene, Oregon. So it could
big issue with how they're doing it. It could be that they don't believe that what they're doing fills the need. But simply duplicating something that's happening with a fair amount of enthusiasm in the community. This raises question. Well, I'm sorry.
So what I was going to say was my understanding of this was that these were unbiased people who were not looking at one specific group or the other. They were looking at everything that was happening there. And as I understand it, the CSU system has protocols or things that are in place that students can and cannot do if they're, to protest. And so it wouldn't be just looking at the cops, it would be looking at everybody there to be sure that everyone is following the protocols that are in place on the campus. I mean, that's just one example, because it might not be on a campus, but it's so that they are not on anybody's side. They're not there as a cop watch. They're there as to de-escalate any problems that might show up by reminding people of what the protocols are, everybody who's there, so that it can be a well orchestrated and well behaved event.
Larry.
Well, I'm thinking, one, there's a real good chance, I think, that the need for this an observer program, I'm glad to know we have some in place, and maybe what we should be doing is helping to facilitate that volunteering, become part of it somehow, because, this is a sanctuary county, right? Our new elected president and vowed, to eliminate, and sanctuary, the whole concept of sanctuary. So there's a real chance there's going to be some civil life issues big time happening, and we do definitely need some observer program in place. And I think, again, we don't have to, duplicate the existing, but maybe, your commissioners that are interested in doing that, volunteer for that organization. And it doesn't sound like you have to be a lawyer, do you?
No. It's just a lawyers who train them. No, it's just community members who are part of it.
So, that would be my suggestion. And the real key there, that we learned is the groups that may need it aware of its existence. That's very incredibly important. Then people have to be able to be willing to, go out at 10 o'clock on a, Thursday night when they have a bridge club or something, it's not a simple thing. If it works, it's a very important function. So anyway.
I guess just a last thought, I feel like it would probably be more effective for us to partner with them in a way that we at least build a relationship with them and know who they are, so that if we get a call, we can call them, because we have gotten calls before asking for observers to come watch an event or to be present somewhere. I think that would be that partnership and recognizing they're already doing this. Because I think that's why we get a little bit of pushback. Like you had mentioned that somebody had concerns, and I've also had someone tell me, I'm concerned because neutral observers have been used to be extra eyes for the cops to notice when people are breaking protocols, so that they can then come back and charge them.
Yeah.
And I don't know that that's what we want to get into.
I don't think it is.
Well, as far as counting the last, 20 or 30 years, that's not been the case at all. There, and the observers programs were just that, and Bert says, and we observed everything. And just, it was, our presence there was a mediating effect.
Yeah.
On people that want to act out. So this, it really is.
Okay, Rick,
I wonder if the Miller, Glover, Jensen committee may contact the legal observers that are here and to find out what sort of potential is there for a cooperative relationship. Rather than going up before, I kind of like the idea that, I mean, if there is an effective program or one that's compatible with us, to kind of link up with them rather than to duplicate. On the other hand, I mean, I want us to keep our integrity in terms of doing what we believe needs to be done. Maybe that initial contact exploration of similarities and or differences might give us a better foundation for saying, okay, this looks good, or we need to go off on our own, whatever the case may be. But I think right now there's some uncertainty in terms of what the real link is and if there is a good potential. I mean, I like cooperating rather than just starting new, but as I said, I also want us to do what we believe needs to be done.
well, my thought would, I hate to infringe on you too much, but since you already have at least a communicating relationship with Tony, could you broach that?
Yeah, he
idea?
would be the one that we would meet with probably, because he's kind of the head of that.
Right,
Group, so.
tell him all three of us would like to introduce ourselves and understand what they're doing
Yeah,
and how we're gonna make that happen.
for sure.
Okay,
And then we'll see where we go from there.
Yeah, see if perhaps he could come and speak to the whole commission.
yeah.
He
Well,
can't at this time
Well,
because
this is the one who can't, okay. Or maybe he could suggest someone who could.
Peter,
So there's I don't know if you've already talked about this at the meeting, I wasn't at yet, but the Civil Liberties Organization out of Eugene, Oregon is opening an office here.
ACLU or some other group?
No, it's to train legal observers.
Oh,
And so they're actually hiring staff here. And there was a fundraiser maybe 2-3 weeks ago at the Fieldbrook Winery. So it would, I'm just reinforcing, it'd be good to connect. There's some real effort going.
there's definitely effort going on if that's happening. Yeah.
There seems to be a lot of excitement about it. I'm a little not sure it's the same thing. I think.
well, that's what we have to find out.
Yeah, I think their focus is more, how do you protect the protesters?
I think so too.
I
And
think this is on the protester side, it's not.
Yeah.
Right, but I think inclination to talk to them and really figure this out is the right thing to do.
Yeah, I think so too, Peter. And that's why I think they're saying what we could really, a hole we could fill or a gap we could fill is by providing nonviolent civil disobedience training. So like getting ahead of it. So people are trained and know how to protest and show up. And I think that's what they're hoping that we'll do. And then they'll do
It's a conversation we definitely need to have.
I don't know that any of us are skilled in being able to do that, and it would mean money, right, to pay someone.
It could be really important. I mean, there's a whole, about 2 generations that have no background in nonviolent training and civil disobedience. I mean, not just the activists don't have the.
No,
Again, they're different things.
they are.
Civil disobedience in a neutral or in the observing is different. Okay, and I don't see how they could come out of the same organization exactly.
Well, the trouble is, I don't think we're in a position to decide or make it.
Only in terms of what we're extreme.
Yeah.
Personally, I would be uncomfortable, but not that I think it's important to have that training and ability, for folks in the community to do that. But again, it's just a bigger thing. That's all.
Well, I think we've discuss this about as much as we can for tonight, but if you will, Jamie, contact him and
Mhm.
tell him what our concerns are and how we'd like to proceed. I think that'll give us something
Sure.
for the committee to look
Yeah,
at.
I will, if you're interested.
Maybe I can check in with you too, just about like potential days, times. So I
I'm
can,
good pretty much all the time. So.
okay.
And Rick is too, right?
What?
You're available all the time.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Like all of us here.
He was telling me how his schedule was.
We just got this time to kill. We just need to while away those lonely hours. Yeah, right.
And that committee is not due to expire for a year.
Sorry. Moving on. It sounded like a chime on dawn or something.
The next committee that was due to meet, it has not met. That's rapid response. It might have some connection to the neutral observers at some point in the future, but I think it's premature to go down that road.
That one's expiring.
And so let's reschedule it to a year. Sure.
Yeah,
And then we'll make some decisions later on about its longevity. Next item is unfinished business. I don't have any that I am aware of, but I'm open to anybody. Okay. And new business gives us the opportunity to discuss what Larry was bringing up earlier. There's two factors here. We have two members who have resigned the commission. They shared a lengthy letter with me and with Natalie Arroyo expressing dissatisfaction with the actions of the commission and concerns for their safety meeting where we're meeting, even though there's nothing different about our meeting than the planning commission. They felt they weren't protected in this. Without getting into too much detail publicly, I think it was a gender issue, or gender identity issue, for the most part. And the accusation basically is that we were not sensitive enough to the proper use of pronouns and identifying them. And I don't know how we go ahead with this, except that we do have an offer from Rachel Montgomery of the Humboldt Area Foundation to explore some sort of training for the commission or for commissioners so that we can do a better job in the future of recruiting new commissioners and for understanding their situation without stumbling into it, which is, I think, what we did in this particular case.
Yeah, and this is sort of, I feel like I'm coming in with very little knowledge here. So one thing that I'm wondering is if, well, first of all, the feeling of a lack of safety, was it an evening hour or?
It was two things. One, if you go back to the June meeting where we had the Zoom bombing, that is when they were personally attacked and identified because of their gender identity. Remember, one of our members left the room. She finally came back. The other thing said, well, then we never saw her again in one of our meetings. The other hung on a little bit longer, but sympathized a great deal with the first.
This was a commission member who then gathered and left?
Yes.
And where was what was the source of the discriminatory comments? Was it from?
It was
Zoom?
at that time, it was from somebody that was
Zoom.
anonymous on Zoom.
Okay,
And what we did in response to that event was we learned how to control the audio and things like that. I met with the supervisor the very next
Right.
day, and we got some changes made. However, I didn't realize that that wasn't enough.
That was the
Okay.
second time though, right? Because it had happened the meeting before too.
It was briefer and less targeted than previous meetings.
Because I was at that one, but it
did
didn't
happen.
come in the June meeting. I wasn't here.
Right.
Okay, maybe just to follow up,
Sure.
it seems to me, though, that I'm a little disappointed that there wasn't more said, or that the commission wasn't more aware of what the problems were before the decision was to leave.
I share that feeling, and because I'm the chair, I felt a great responsibility, but I didn't. If I was naive, I apologize for being naive, but it
Now,
wasn't intentional by any means.
it seems that I mean, if I have a problem, it seems I also have a responsibility to identify what it is, to at least give it a little bit of an airing. I feel like I could have gotten more from about the issues that these two people were facing before just a sudden departure. I'm a little disappointed that it wasn't more clear what was going on. And I frankly wish that they had been a little bit more forthright in what they were experiencing. Clearly, they were experiencing some challenges, some difficulty. I
Yeah.
don't want someone to quietly have to have those challenges, but I think that I would also call for saying, I'm having some challenges.
Yeah. Before I recognize Carol, I had communicated earlier today with Bird and Carol and
myself.
Rick about the application process, whether we can pick up flags that alert us in the future from the very beginning, and maybe that would help. I don't know if it will, but we're working on language that asks for pronoun identification if they wish, or maybe other questions that might give us a clue. I mean, if somebody is not going to voluntarily say something about themselves, and they don't have to, but if they're not, some of us can be oblivious to their plight.
Yeah, I think there's a responsibility of, for example, how I want to be referred to, and I mean, I think that these right here can be helpful.
Right.
Yeah, I was noticing that like Bird and I have, I guess, and you do too.
Yeah, I don't have that.
So I think one of my experiences, one of the things is like normalizing that, right? Like, especially when it comes to gender pronouns, that we just normalize that people, when they introduce themselves, say their name and gender pronouns, and that opens the door instead of putting the onus on the person who has concerns about sharing their gender pronouns. If we make it normal, then it's safe. That's my experience working on the university campus.
Right.
So
Carol and then Bird.
Okay, I too am saddened and oblivious, I guess, naive as well, that we weren't aware, or I wasn't aware that we were being offensive in any way, that we weren't being cognizant of their concerns. I don't think it was brought forward. I do know, Jim, you did your best when the situation occurred to try to alleviate the problem using our technology at that time. And when a commissioner leaves the room and comes back, it's difficult for me as a commissioner to bring forward and ask them for their concerns. It seems like I, as an older generation, needs that training to be sensitive and aware of this new generation that is using pronouns. And I hope that maybe with the area foundation personnel that we will have the opportunity to have that training. And also, it's very sad that they had to leave.
Well, I agree with you, and I do think we may be able to reach out to Queer Humboldt for some additional guidance. And this won't be the only issue that we're going to face, but if we're going to expect the community to be more inclusive and supportive, then we're going to have to be at our peak of performance as well. And this kind of training, I think, would help. Yeah.
This is a really difficult situation for me because I do, as a consultant, I do a lot of training with relationships and communication. And from my point of view, communication happens when two people or two groups understand one another. And if someone says that I tried to tell you, but you didn't get it, communication didn't happen. And sometimes I get the feeling that people who have an issue don't articulate it in a way that people who are not really aware of that particular issue or know too much about it are able to get the information that they think they're giving, because they don't do it in a way that gets across to the next person. And I'm not saying it's anybody's fault, but I certainly was blindsided by these people leaving because I felt that I had communicating with them during the meetings or after the meetings. And obviously my communication didn't get through to them and I didn't know them. So somehow we have to, I don't know whether the training will do this for us, but I'm asking for that kind of thing. I want to know how to work with people so that I can understand their concerns, even when they are reluctant to tell me outright what it is. That it's kind of like, your kid comes home from school and you say, how was school? Okay. Is anything wrong? No, nothing's wrong. And yet this kid, there's something wrong. And you have to figure out how you're going to communicate with that kid to find out what happened at school. And so you've got to be able to get that understanding between two people or two groups. And I'm hoping that training will give us that.
I was just looking at my calendar. The meeting that we had with Rachel Montgomery is on the 12th. Bert has agreed to attend. I don't think she would mind if anybody else wanted to attend. It isn't the training, it's the discussion about how to get the training.
And what we might need.
What does Rachel Montgomery? I don't know. I'm not familiar with her. What does she do?
I'm not exactly sure of her title.
Do you know
You don't
her?
happen to know, do you? It's been a while for you.
She was at our house last night.
Oh.
You don't know her title.
At any rate, I hope that meeting will be at the Humboldt Area Foundation at 2:00 on the 12th.
Might also say that this is very much related to the group that we're working with this event that we're trying to come up with to help people learn how to communicate with one another. I mean, it's a little bit different, but still it's communication. And that is the really key thing, to be able to communicate with people in a way that everyone understands what the issue is and what the concerns are. And obviously that didn't happen here. If they felt that they weren't safe or they were not being understood.
Well, there's obviously a little bit of learning that needs to take place on our part and on others as well. And so that's part of what we do. I I think we need to wrap up this part of it. That's about all we can do for tonight. But it does raise the question, because Ren has resigned, she was the treasurer of this organization. And the bylaws call for us to meet at the next meeting after the resignation to select a replacement. I don't know if we have a volunteer to be treasurer. Guy was the treasurer before Red, and I'm open to suggestions on how we ought to proceed.
Isn't it that someone has to have been on the.
At least 6 months.
6 months, yeah. So you're off the hook, Pete.
Um,
Can I ask why, I just gave it up doing it, or was there?
Well, his term was expiring when he apparently felt he was going to have other commitments that we could ask him again. If we don't make a decision tonight, the bylaws call for us to make a decision at this meeting. So it's a little awkward given the circumstances. And Bird, maybe you understand the bylaws better than I do in terms of, can one person have 2 roles?
The secretary cannot be the chair. I believe. Yeah, I think, say that, who's our vice chair?
So
Yeah,
if there is a need, I will volunteer.
oh, hooray.
Wonderful.
I don't think there's a lot involved in this other than going to the
No,
bank
there is.
planning and getting the reports to present to the board.
Well, you're correct about that. The only thing, the most complicated thing would be to report to the bank the minutes of this meeting that say what we did and get signature cards signed. That'll be the most work a person would do in that role.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing.
Oh, outside of doing monthly reports.
Okay.
Well,
There you go.
let's make this official and somebody nominate.
I nominate Carol to fulfill this position till the end of the term.
I'll second it.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded that Carol serve as treasurer until the end of the current term, which would be actually would be June 30th, and then we'll take another look at it.
Yeah.
Any discussion?
Sorry, could the person that seconded raise their hand again? I missed that.
That was Rick.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Carol, thank you for the volunteering.
Thank you.
All those in favor of Carol serving as treasurer, please indicate by raising your hand. Okay, it's unanimous.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
We can't lose too many because we only got 6.
No, that's true. That's true.
So Jim, I will email you to find out the bank, where to go, where I need to go and so forth.
I'll be happy to meet with you when you're back. When are you back in town?
Sunday.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll contact you first of next week and we'll try to make something happen.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Ren never did that, did she?
She had never completed the process.
Yeah. But I think, Guy, unless you want to keep him on the signature, he has to be part of it too.
He's already been removed.
Oh,
He removed himself.
okay.
The thing, Ellen, we want to make sure that the minutes make mention of this vote and this change of officers so that I can present this to the bank.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, future agenda items. Are there any items that members would like to see put on the December agenda?
Are we planning to do anything for the December Human Rights Day or anything like that?
Yes. I have submitted a revised proclamation to both the city of Arcata and to the Board of Supervisors. The city of Arcata presentation will be December, it's a Wednesday, so it's got to be the 4th. 6 o'clock at the Arcata City Council meeting on December 4th. And December 3rd for the Board of Supervisors. And of course, I know you've got busy schedules. If you wanted to be present when the proclamation is received, I'll receive the proclamation, probably say a few words, but I would love to introduce any members that were able to be present.
What about Eureka City?
Have not been in touch with them.
I wonder, do we want to do that?
If there's still time, I think so.
Jim, what was the date that you are presenting to the supervisors?
December 3rd, it's a Tuesday.
Okay. Thank you.
And that's 9 a.m., right?
That's somewhere between 9 a.m. and
Yeah,
wherever.
usually they try to do that.
Yeah,
kind
the
of thing.
consent calendar,
And you said it on the 4th, for Arcata,
city
at
council.
6 o'clock?
Yes.
Don't we have isn't our Zoom,
And that's at 4:30, I think.
yeah, so that's, I was
Wait a second, yeah.
make things a little tighter.
Oh, I was going to tell you, I probably might have to leave early
Oh,
for that.
okay.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's made at 4:30 to 5:30.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I was just.
Additionally, we're working on a new proclamation to assist EPI for human trafficking. That'll be for the February Board of Supervisors meeting. Okay, well, if there are no other, I'm sorry.
Just one thought to raise, and maybe nothing to decide right now, but in the earlier years, when I was on the commission with Erd and Larry and others, we would often have an annual meeting in which we would sort of look at our past, but also maybe lay out a broader set of pictures as to what we might like to accomplish in the coming year, rather than just simply responding to issues as they came in. And I just sort of want to kind of raise that topic to say, is that something that might be of benefit? To say, do we have some longer term goals, things that we would like to address, and how would we approach them? So a thought.
Well, that could be added to the agenda for the next meeting.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And in the meantime, if you have individual thoughts on that,
Mhm.
let's bring them to that meeting.
Okay.
Okay. Great. All right, well, if there is no additional business, we probably will stand in adjournment.
Jim,
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I do want to mention that the system that the city has for their Zoom is great. Because I can see everybody. When someone speaks, it goes to that person. You can see that person speaking. We have the whole room. This is great. It's the first
So
time.
that's good. I just wish that the Brown Act was a little more flexible for us to use it more frequently than we do, but I'm glad we were able to see you, and thanks for participating, both you and Ellen.
Yeah, thank you for your observation. That's good to know.
Yes, it's great.
All right, have a good evening, and thank you, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
And the key I found for hiding is don't say a word.
Oh, no.
Just say
Yes, it brings you up.
and the camera doesn't focus on you.
Yeah, don't move.